instructor doing?
That makes two of us.
Two of you?
Very nervous.
Well, I'm back here, so that makes three.
I like it.
All right, buddy, we're gonna continue to climb all the way up to our jump out tube. We're just now halfway there. So you got some time to sit back, think about it, calm those nerves, have a good jump, and we'll see you on the outside.
It just got real. What was I thinking? I'm gonna pause it there. Before I get started, as always, I want to acknowledge the smarter and better looking Dr. Bush who's joining us today, my wife. Where is she at? Now we're going to get started. Welcome to the best year in the history of CRC. I believe it, that's why I say it. And because I say it, I know it will happen. I believe that each and every time that I start the year with that mantra. But like I really, really, really believe it this year. CRC, we are at the precipice of preeminence. We are literally standing at the edge. And the only thing that we have to do is to make the decision to jump. One of the things that I am clear about, that I just became clear about, that if we are going to make the changes we want to see, it's not about looking at another set of data. It's not about implementing the next latest and greatest tool. All those things are important and necessary. But our ability to make change that is going to impact the lives on our students is going to be the mindset that we have as an institution. What is also clear to me, that the mindset to get you on the plane is not necessarily the same mindset that is going to propel you to jump. But both mindsets are important. I know you didn't think I was going to jump right there. But both mindsets are critical. If you don't know this about me, I am not the adventurous type by any means. Like, when people were telling me about things to do in Sacramento, a lot of people were telling me about a lot of outdoor stuff like camping, and camping to me is adventurous. And I was like, nah, I guess I won't be doing much in Sacramento. So to do something as drastic as jumping out of an airplane is really far. It is really, did I say really? It is really beyond my comfort zone. Like, I am scared of heights. But you don't know this. I also, yeah, I'm trying to get it out because I'm trying to struggle if I'm going to disclose this. Like, standing on the stage like this messed with me. No, physically messed with me. Like, it's something when I'm elevated that literally physically makes me dizzy. I didn't know. So if you notice in commencement, like, I'm never actually nervous. But you would notice, like, I'm holding on to the podium, gripping it, if you can see it, Not because of nerves, but because I'm trying to hold my balance. Like, y'all laughing, but really trying to figure this out. Like I'm going to the doctor, trying to figure out what's going on. So it's funny, but it's like real, right? So for me to have to look down from 15,000 feet in the air. And so when I was making a decision and I was talking to my admin assistant, Kathy, about it, because I had an opportunity over the summer to do a week-long Army educators tour, where they brought in educators from across the country to see about the different educational programs that the Army has to offer. So I was actually in Fort Lee, Virginia for a week, and that's where the jump took place. And Kathy said, I'm just gonna sign you up, and then you can back out later if you don't want to do it. I said, no, you're not gonna do that. I said, no, I did it before, it's fine. You'll be okay. I said, yeah, sign up and I'll be able to back out. But time just got closer and closer and closer. Then the next thing you know, I was suiting up. But as the weeks were progressing, I'm the type of person, I'm not going to do anything drastic without trying to derive some meaning from it. Like I had to figure out what is the purpose and the reason behind this. And closer to maybe 2 or 3 days from making the jump, it hit me. And I was having a conversation with myself. Well, really wasn't having a conversation with myself. I was having a conversation with somebody who's not visible. If you know anything about my background, you might figure out who I was having a conversation with. And so I was asking, what's the purpose and what's the meaning? And what was revealed to me was that I had to put myself in the same position that I have been putting you in for the last couple of years. That I had to put myself in a drastic situation that would cause me to test my own comfort zone. That I had to reflect on what it means to ask people to do something drastically different than what they did before. And I had to get myself in the mindset that you must experience when I challenge you or ask you to stretch, to step back, to do things vastly different. And so as I go through this presentation, I'm going to share the thinking and the mindset of how I derive meaning from this experience and parallel that to, I believe, the mindset that we have experienced to get us to this point as an institution, but also what is the mindset that's going to allow us to go over the edge. No, I didn't turn it on, and you told me to do that. And you heard philosopher and actor Will Smith talk about this. It's fear. It's fear. Fear is a beast. It's a big thing. Every year, I think I accidentally ran into this being a repetitive thing at Convocation. I have something that I coined Convocation Confessions. I think my first year in Convocation, my first fall, I confessed to you that I was nervous, immensely nervous. Then that spring and second Convocation, I admitted that and my confession was that I was still nervous, still immensely nervous. The next one was, I think, the confession that just because I sleep in the bed every night doesn't mean I know how to put one together. And I'll share with you my IKEA experience in trying to put together my daughter's bed unsuccessfully. And then the last in the spring, I believe my confession was the fact that I get cynical sometimes doing the work. This confession this year is that I operate out of fear way too much. That sometimes I'm more driven by the fear of not being successful than I am by success itself. And I guess the disclosure piece, or the piece that is transparent with you, is that I don't know if I'm going to be successful. I don't know if all the things that we are trying to do to transform and improve the lives of our students, I am not certain that it's going to work. But what I'm certain of is that we have to try, that I have to try. One of the people I look up to is my big sister, who's also my pastor, talks about that fear is not an indication to stop. That sometimes we do things and we're just going to have to do it afraid. And when we do this work, we face our fears, and we'll talk about some of those fears. It's not that the fear is not real, but it's not an indication that we need to stop. We just need to do it afraid. Because we have to be more fearful and not doing enough than it is to do too much. Because the stakes are so high for our students. And I think we have some not only personal fears, but there's also some institutional fears, right? You know, are we doing enough? The fear of the unknown. Like, I'm used to teaching my class a certain way. I've been doing it for 15 years. I'm used to counseling a certain way. I'm used to serving students a certain way. I figured out the system of how to do it. And anything that sounds like you're going to mess with the system that I created that works best for me, I'm going to be resistant to that because I'm afraid if I'm able to make another transition. And when I ever get comfortable in a transition as I am in the present structure and situation. And not only that, do I have the skill sets to make the transition? Because I know my skills work for me in this situation, but I'm uncertain if my skill sets will work in this one. Those are real fears. But guess what? We have to do it afraid. One of the things emotions I felt, beyond being a little fearful when I got on the plane, that was there, and I accepted that as a constant. that fear piece just wasn't going to go away throughout the whole experience. But what I didn't expect was this piece of feeling overwhelmed. And what overwhelmed me was thinking about what I had to do. It wasn't what I was going to do, it was the thought of it that just overwhelmed me. Then I was like, this is a familiar feeling because I've seen it somewhere before. Guess where I've seen it? I've seen it here. Every time we talk about a new initiative, every time we talk about doing less with more, every time we get a sense that we might have to do more than what you're already doing, you're already doing a lot. I made a couple mistakes since I've been president, but one mistake I made, and I don't know if the members of the math department, are you here? Raise your hand. I don't know if you recall this. I think it was maybe my second or third meeting with the math department. Yeah, he's like second or third. Yeah, I meet with math a lot. And one of the things that we got an initial conversation in a meeting, and it was a great discussion. It was back and forth around our philosophies and approach to math and about acceleration and some other things. But I had to come back in another meeting, and I had to apologize. Do you all recall this? And the reason why I had to apologize is because I did not spend enough time in my first meeting acknowledging all of their previous and current hard work, effort, and dedication, and the commitment they have to our students and what they're doing now. We immediately went to the conversation about what we could do differently. And I can imagine how they felt not being acknowledged for all of their work and their effort. To just hear about what they should do differently and how we need to prove student success without acknowledging their hard work, their energy, and effort. I imagine they felt overwhelmed when they didn't get recognized for everything that they were doing, let alone to be asked to do something different. So I had to humble myself and apologize. So to the extent that I did that to the institution and not acknowledging your hard work and effort, I'll apologize to all of you, because feeling overwhelmed is not fun. And we feel overwhelmed about the tremendous work we have to do. I feel overwhelmed every time we put up our student success data. How can we move something so big? I feel overwhelmed every time we put up our equity gaps that's been persistent over 20 and 30 years without seeing any closure or diminishing of that gap. I feel overwhelmed. And I want to acknowledge that the work is hard. It is big. I talked about many of the initiatives, the things that overwhelms us, and I won't spend time going over, but you see it. Some of you jerked just by reading a couple of those words. You said, ooh, I saw you. You had a visible reaction just for seeing guided pathways. Some of you shook a little bit, right? Then you add online education, SLOs, enrollment management, course applicability. The list goes on and on and on. And how can we not feel overwhelmed by that? Remember, we're talking about a mindset that's going to get us to jump. One of the things before you jump, how many of you been skydiving before? I know we have some in here. Good, I won't say good number of us. I would say more than I might have thought, but it's like good 5 or 6. And you would know before you jump, you have to go through a set of instructions, right? That they show you a video, they talk about the parachute and how it's put together and how it ejects. So you just don't get out there all willy-nilly and just strap on a parachute and go jump. There's some level of preparation. And the little piece that I was able to hold on to during the process was the piece that the person I was jumping with and the team that I jumped with the Golden Knights of the Army. I don't know if it gets any better than that as it relates to folks who jump out of airplanes, whatever. Parachutists, is that it? Skydivers. The fact that they were prepared. So I became a little less fearful, a little less overwhelmed, because I was in the hands of people that knew what they were doing. It gave me evidence to suggest that what we're doing was, that I was going to land, that what I was doing was possible. And I want you to know, although I acknowledge the institutional fears, although I acknowledge the fact that we have a lot of things coming at us and it's happening fast and it's happening at once, but the peace that we could find within the institution is that we know that we are prepared and that we have been prepared to do this work. Look at the person to your left if you have someone, or just look at the person next to you, because that's always confusing. Look at the person to your left and the right, or are they looking at the back of your head? Like I never quite figured out how that worked. So just look at both people. If you're sitting next to two people, look at somebody. Find somebody to look at. You're not looking at nobody. This only works if you look at somebody. You're looking at a good person. Chances are you're looking at a good-looking person. Chances are. But you're looking at a good person that is truly committed to their work. You're looking at somebody who wants to be here. You're looking at somebody who loves students. You're looking at somebody who has overcome obstacles to be in the seat next to you. They went through years of school, years of training, interviewed, or got promoted to get to the positions they're in now. They are well prepared, well equipped to do the work. All of you are. So the peace that I find in the fear of not achieving or not being successful, or the peace that I find from being overwhelmed, what I hold on to is you. because I know that I'm on a team that knows what the hell they're doing. And so we should find that same peace knowing that we're prepared to do the work. And it's manifested concretely within our institution through our strategic plan. In the first year experience program, we're prepared. We have, for the first time, we have a professional development coordinator that's at a 0.8% reassigned time. Get up for Georgine. Stand up. That is set to prepare us to do the work, to get the training and the development that we need. And for the first time, for the last several years, we've been in a situation where we're not dying for resources. That we have the resources, we have the money to do the work. Yeah, it took a little courage to get on that plane. Not to jump, just to get on the plane, it took courage. Yeah, we're still at the pre-jump. We're still on the edge. Took some courage. Remember, I'm paralleling my experience in where we are institution. And I think I said this in several forums late last year, that I am so proud of you. I am so proud of CRC. Because you have made clear decisions around taking some bold steps as it relates to improving student success. The fact that we approved as a college to move forward to apply for the California Guided Pathway Initiative, you do realize that there's many colleges who opted not to do that, right? Because they determined from some form or fashion they weren't ready to make that step. They weren't ready to get out to the edge of that airplane. We had some tough conversations, but in the end, you chose to be courageous, and you continue to have and continue to push yourselves with courageous conversations about, are we truly doing everything that we can, everything in our power to better serve our students? And it goes back and forth. And sometimes it might seem to have conflict, but conflict is okay. In fact, conflict is necessary. We need all different ideas from all different sides to refine an idea or implementation that's actually going to work for our institution. So I thank you for your courage. Stay close. Real quick. I know. Right? Where's Michael Bittner? Michael from media department helped me put two of those videos together. I said, Michael, is it possible to edit? I said, Michael, is it possible? And my wife knows, like I struggle. I said, I want to show this video, but there's a part that I absolutely don't want to show. Then Michael said, yeah, I can edit, but why would you want to? Because I told him where I was going, and he was absolutely right. So despite all the ego, I kept it. And the reason I kept it is this work is not always going to be pretty. It's just not always going to be perfect. It's not going to look right. Sometimes you're not going to look cool, but you just got to jump anyway, CRC, even if we're kicking and you don't supposed to. And just trust at some point you're going to pull it together. And we always have. That's our tradition. That's our story. CRC, you always pull it together.
Tyler, give him 1 second here. He's going to get you unhooked. Ed, you just jumped out of an airplane from 13,000 feet. Tell me about your Army experience.
Oh, it was great. Oh, wow. You got to do this. If you get the opportunity, you got to make the jump. Let's go CRC Hawks. Absolutely. All right.
Let's go CRC Hawks. We gotta make the jump, but we gotta make it together. If I continued to kick throughout that jump, it wasn't gonna go well. I mean, anything I did or anything that the tandem jumper, the person who was leading the jump, did anything different, it affected me, or we affected each other. And we have to know that we connected. That everything one person does in an organization or within the department affects someone else. And that we're not going to land safely if we're not working in tandem, if we're not in the same page, if we're not in unison. So the silos, the old divisions, the old beefs, yes, beefs, you know what beef is, like issues, right? Any past hurts that may exist within the institution based on relationship or broken relationships, the stakes are too high. Students don't necessarily care about that, nor should they. They want to know that when they walk in this environment, they're going to get the best service, the best teaching, the best educational experience possible. The only way that happens is we are connected and realize that we are connected to each other. When I got on the ground, that ground, the mindset was I realized that anything was possible. That I never thought that I would be in the situation where I was going to jump out of the airplane. I didn't think that was possible for the reasons that I mentioned to you earlier. But our mindset has to be that everything we put our mind to is possible for us at CRC. So when we talk about being the preeminent college in the nation, we have to know that's more than talk, that's not impossible. But because of everything we've been through, because we're prepared, because we faced our fears, because we realized that we're connected, then we know whatever we set our mind to as an institution is possible. We have to know it's possible that we can improve overall student success while simultaneously closing a gap in achievement by maintaining and still maintaining without compromising high standards and rigor. That's possible. But I lead with this, is that we have to be able to see, and we'll be able to see the possibilities that exist within our students. That we have to see their possibilities even when they can't see it for themselves. That the single mother who walks into the counseling office or walk into your classroom that has 3 children and working 30 hours a week and place in the lowest level of math tells you that they want to be a nursing student. And you think about how old they are. And you know how much time it takes. And you realize how difficult it is if they place in the lowest level of English and math to make it through. Can you see that it's possible for them? Can you look beyond what you believe their deficiencies are and their obstacles and realize that if they had the proper mindset, and if we have the proper mindset when we're serving that student, that we also would know it's not about their data. It's not about their statistics either. It's not about how much hours they work. That's data. It's not about the new program because that's just data for them. What it's about is if they believe that they could do it, but most importantly, this is the kicker. If they believe that they could do it, but if they know that you believe that they can do it too. That is possible. I thank you, and I'm excited for the best year in the history of CRC, and I hope that you are excited too.